Sucio Talk podcast hanging out here in Oakland. Where you at? Hopefully you haven't gotten your car broken into today. If you're living out here. I'm hanging out with Chad the Filipino on IG. But I don't know your name. So let's start with that. For the people of Sucio Talk, who the hell are you?
Yeah, my name is Chad Santo Thomas.
Okay.
Chad the Filipino's cool though.
All right.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with the nickname, Chef?
Yeah. Chad the Filipino is my moniker after I moved to the Philippines in 2019.
Okay.
Before that, it was Chad the Scientist. Because I used to work as a neuroscientist after college.
Neuroscience.
Yeah.
So you're way smarter than all of us.
That's what I like people to believe, but I'm actually just as dumb as everyone else.
Why neuroscience?
We don't have to get too deep into this, but my parents have a business. Actually, I would prefer if we don't get too deep into this, but my parents have a business, and it's basically like pseudo hospice care.
Right.
We basically have like 4 live-in patients at the bottom of our house that have ranging degrees of illness from normal health to like dementia. So ever since I was like, this is part of the reason why we moved to South San Francisco. My mom rather wanted to upgrade her house so that she could start this business. So yeah, ever since we moved, we've been taking care of like all these elderly people with these mental disabilities. And so that kind of kickstarted my interest in neurodegenerative diseases.
Okay. From a young age.
Got it.
Where were you born?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Bay Area unicorn.
Bay Area.
Yay area.
Did you love your life growing up in San Fran? Were you like, I'm from San Francisco?
I was pretty chill. Chill about it, yeah. I mean, I was very proud. Pretty fortunate. I know you interviewed quite a few Bay Area people like Elena, Cultures, Mark Liu.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I went to high school with that guy.
You went to high school with Mark Liu?
Yeah, he was 4 years my senior.
Whoa.
Another fun fact, we were actually in band together.
No way.
Yeah.
What do you play, Chef?
I played trombone.
You play trombone. What did Mark Liu play?
He played... what did Mark Liu play? I think he played flute.
Does he admit that? Are you like still friends when he sees you? Is he like, hey, we were in band?
Friends. No, yeah. He'll fucking admit it.
Okay, got you. All right, got it. I didn't know if there was some kind of beef.
No, we're homies.
Like trombone versus, is there that kind of beef when you're in band? You like not hang out with any of the strings or,
No, we're tight.
Okay.
It's just trombones are in the front during marching band.
Mm-hmm.
Woodwinds are in the back because they kind of like overpower the balance of the unit.
Okay. Why did you get into band?
Another side tangent, but my best friend, my best friend since first grade, his family owned a music store, and so music has been like a really big influence since I was a kid. And I kind of wanted to just like still hang out with him. One of the reasons why I chose my high school was because I didn't want to like separate from him. So I kind of just wanted to like hang out with him in high school, and so he was in the band program, and so I wanted to follow suit and just hang out with him more in band.
Right. Okay. Dope. That's a good enough reason. I like that. Cool. So born, raised San Francisco. You pretty much knew all the cool kids growing up. What years were you don't have to tell me the exact year you were born, but what years are we talking about here? What was their era?
2012 to 2016.
2012 to 2016. So a youngin' in the house.
Yeah, I can tell you my age. I'm 28.
You're 28. Well, I don't want to be weird, Chef. You don't know. Like, you can't just fucking ask people, hey, how old are you, man? You know what I mean? I do ask people what year they're born, but I feel like more comfortable doing that when they're in my age group. Not that I'm much fucking older than you. I'm 33, so I don't really.
Yeah, it's all good.
Like,
Yeah.
It's all good. So what was your first job, chef? What'd you do?
My first job was also, I've never had like a culinary job, by the way. You don't have to refer me to chef.
Oh, I'm not referring to you as chef because
Oh, okay.
you're a chef. It's just
All right.
second nature for me to
Okay.
say that.
All right.
Yeah.
My first.
I'm equalizing the word.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I respect
I'm
that.
not calling you that because you're a chef. Like
Okay.
we all know you don't look like you can
Okay.
cook.
Okay.
Am I insulting you now? You're like, no.
First job was actually my best friend's music store.
Mhm.
And then actually after that it was at my neuroscience lab in college. Yeah.
Okay. What does a neuroscience lab do? What are you working on? What are you doing? What are your projects?
Yeah. It's a lot of science jargon, but depends on the lab. Our lab, to keep it very elevator pitch,
Yeah.
we dissected mice, studied their brains under a microscope under a technique that my boss developed. And we processed these brains using like fluorescent dyes and analyzed the data and used it to study how mice developed as they were born and compared it to mice that had a phenotype of like schizophrenia or Alzheimer's.
Okay. Is the new age scientist tattooed now? I see you have tattoos. Is it the same thing as like being a cook? Has it
Yeah.
changed over the years? Are they cool now?
Dude, a little bit. My grad student was like pretty fucking cool. He was like a Mormon that like left the church. He was fucking tatted. He was fucking cool.
Right.
So I think so, man. There were some pretty cool scientists in my workplace.
Right.
Yeah.
Scientists are hot.
Some of them were, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Is it? Is this? You think that this is the first ever time in the era of scientists that you guys are considered like sexy, or has? I mean, Stephen Hawking was married, so I guess not. But have scientists always been hot? Are people like after Einstein?
dude, I mean, there's probably some like hot scientists now. I mean,
Yeah. I don't know that scientists OnlyFans maybe.
dude, I mean, I don't doubt it. I don't
It's
doubt
out
it.
there, man.
Dude, it has to be. I have to believe in it.
Right.
I have to believe in it. No, dude, they're for sure. There were for sure.
There has to be.
Dude, no, there were for sure some hot scientists
Yeah.
in my memory.
In your memory, they're like, I think about them at least once a week.
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny. So during these studies, during your time doing all this science work, are you guys going out to restaurants? Like, do you guys know what good food is, or is it kind of like we're busy, we're eating McDonald's and fucking Boston Market?
Yeah, so like one of the biggest, I feel like one of the biggest misjudgments that I think people had about me when I was like dining out and shit was that I feel like people thought I had like copious amounts of money.
All right.
But I think like the big misunderstanding is that scientists, or at least like graduate level scientists, don't make a lot of money. STEM research degrees are funded by the government, so you're really getting paid about like $36,000 to $40,000 a year, which isn't really livable if you're like living in San Francisco, right? But if you're living in like Santa Cruz, which I was, or if you're living in like, you know, Connecticut or some like, you know, wherever to do research and you're just like focused on doing research, it's fine. But if you're like, you know, getting paid 36,000 annually and you're like trying to ball out and eat at like fucking Saison every month, really not like a smart investment, you know? On top of paying rent, really not a smart investment. So yeah, I think for like the normal grad student, it's not really in their realm of normalcy. So yeah, it's not really something that I advertised or, you know, shared with my science friends. Yeah.
So we were just going out like Batman and going out to Saison and shit. What do you?
Dude, yeah, a little bit. Dude, yeah, I kind of had like this like two lives kind of duality.
Why? Why didn't you join the two?
It's not that I didn't want to, it's just that ooh, yeah, why didn't I join the two? No, it's not that I didn't want to. It's just like it felt kind of weird to like have this part of me seen.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I wasn't ashamed of it, but it was like I didn't feel a need to kind of expose that part of me. Also because it was like I wanted to have like this forced separation between work and play. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's legit. Nobody ever asked you that before?
No.
Okay. Okay. Boom. One for Sucio Talk.
Yeah.
That's why we do it, baby. Chef
Yeah.
journalism.
Yeah.
Dope. So you're out there, you're having a separate life. And so how do you get into this separate life? So you're a scientist. I'm just going to spitball here.
Yeah.
You're lonely. You're eating top ramen. When are you like, fuck this? I'm going out, baby. I'm going to find these restaurants. I'm going to find these people.
Yeah. I think it just started because, at the time I was dating this girl. It was like,
It's always a girl.
it's always a girl.
Always a girl.
It's always a girl, at this point in time, it's probably like 4 years into a relationship.
Yeah.
The fucking longer you go, you want to like obviously get more and more extravagant with how much you love this person. So the longer we're together, you're just trying to like outdo yourself, or I'm just trying to outdo myself with each and every dinner. So yeah, I mean, it starts out, I think, the first tasting menu we ever did, or I ever took her to, was Sons and Daughters.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. The bread service was fire. Sucks to say that that's like the only thing that I remember. But yeah, bread service was fire. I think Aziza was up there too.
Okay.
That one being a really like interesting cultural moment because I never experienced cuisine from that ethnicity or culture before.
Okay. Did you know going into it? Were you like expecting it? Like, oh, this is going to be great?
I had no expectations.
Or were you like, we're going to Ziza, whatever?
I had expectations given that it was like, I think Michelin or like high class,
Mm-hmm.
but I had no expectations into what sort of cuisine and flavors that I would expect. But yeah, I remember the Bastilla was fucking lit. I didn't know I didn't know that, I remember like the fucking puff pastry was so flaky, and the way like it emulsified into the duck and it just like added some extra moisture and it just like melted into your mouth, and it was like so much umami with like the fig emulsion on the side to like clean it all up in your palate with like this acid and the fruit. It's beautiful.
Okay. Now, you're talking about food, but you obviously never worked in food, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know where you get your vocabulary from. Is this things that you've heard servers say, or is this books that you're reading? Like when you just told me that description just then.
Yeah. I always thought, so I'm like one of those like really cerebral, nerdy type motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
So I really have this desire to like understand something, and to understand something, I really need to like research and read and converse
Right.
like we are now. And so, of course, dining out is part of that intellectual renaissance in your mind. But I think a lot of it is just like being really intentional and intentional with how you consume and mindful of what you're tasting.
Right.
A lot of like these flavors were of course new to me, so the next time I ate a fig, being very intentional and mindful of how it tasted and kind of cementing that flavor in my mind so that the next time I ate it raw or also prepared, I knew how to understand it when prepared in a, gastronomic context made more sense to me.
Right.
And so doing the same, trial and error and methodological process for an array of ingredients made more sense to me.
Okay.
So that I could like understand food better.
Right. When you pick restaurants, do you pick it based on awards, word of mouth? What are you looking at? What specific publications are you looking at when you're looking to restaurants to go to?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think for any diner, when you're first getting into food, it's always going to be awards.
Right.
It's always going to be awards because you want to know.
Say that louder for the people in the back.
It's always going to be awards
Oh!
because you're always going to want the best.
Right.
You're always going to want that top dollar.
There you go. Top dollar. There's some ASMR for you from Chad the Filipino.
But
I saw you just saw the James Beard thing.
yeah, I did.
Right. And then there's articles, article you just commented on. I just saw it with the fucking, I forget what the title read.
Oh, like San Francisco's fucking going down.
Yeah, going down a shit because we don't have any more James Beard nominations. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why later?
I mean, all right, so top dollar.
Right.
I think top dollar is, of course, normal because people just by default want to experience the best before they experience the worst. And that's valid. That's totally fair. And I think it's important for people to experience the best so that they don't feel discouraged in experiencing the worst, right? Because if you give someone like, I work at True Sake part-time now, and our boss always says, don't give someone bad sake for the first time because then it's gonna discourage them from trying bad.
You're right.
It's gonna discourage them from trying more sake from then on. And I totally agree with that too. Like, don't give someone bad alcohol because then it's gonna like discourage them from the joys of, great alcohol. So, yeah, diners will always go with the best. But I think as they develop and hopefully become more conscious and less cunty about lists, they will develop a more intuitive understanding that lists don't really fucking matter. Like they're fucking backed by motherfuckers that have money or like egos or like shit that doesn't really fucking matter. Yeah, there's a lot of really talented chefs that deserve to be on lists. Like, I think Rodney from Avery should have been
Rodney
on Michelin.
Wages.
Rodney Wages should have had a Michelin star like, fucking 3 years ago.
Okay.
But didn't really get it until whenever the fuck he just got it. But yeah.
Did he change anything in your eyes to get the star?
I don't think so. I feel like, not that I could palpably tell. Maybe like staff changed, but I feel like food, like by merit, his food by default should have had 1 star by default.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we disagree with something like that and not take the power away from the winners? Because I feel like if this podcast were to get a James Beard Award, like I would feel really good about that, And then there's other people on the other side who are like, well, that's a multimedia fucking conglomerate of millionaires who are whatever. And like, yeah, but it's like still feels good to win a fucking James Beard Award. So don't discredit the award to the people who won it by advocating for the people who didn't get one. It's like, it's not my birthday today, but it's someone else's fucking birthday. And they're allowed to celebrate that.
Yeah, that's totally fair. That's totally valid. Yeah, I feel like it's a tough border to cross because both are valid. what's your how do you think we should, tackle the situation?
I don't think that we could tackle it any better than they're doing it now. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like they've included a lot of people over the past few years. There's only so much you can fix, or like I guess fix in our eyes, without completely changing what the fuck it was. You know what I mean? I don't expect Michelin to try to change how the world works by giving out less 3 Michelin stars or less Michelin stars. I don't know how that equates to a better landscape. Like, we watch movies based on Oscars.
Yeah.
You know, and regardless of like, and the same thing is happening in that world too, right? Where they're getting audited and they're like, okay, here you go. If we keep going in this way, what we're gonna do is like basically segregate the award system, and it's gonna be like greatest black chef, greatest white chef, like
yeah, basically.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the other way we're going, where the people who have suffered the racism before and have hated white people. I grew up hating white people, right? But now I'm in a world where it's like I see that the hatred of white people can go to the other side, where it's like I hear people of color sounding like some racist white people that I've encountered in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the same shit that we're battling, right? And then becoming it almost at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do you fix it? I think they're doing a good job with what they're doing right now. I think that they have this conglomerate of chefs that they've built who like in an effort for change. But you can't please everyone. And I don't expect James Beard Award to please everyone, because then it wouldn't be a fucking award.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. It happens every year. It's like this person got snubbed of this award, so now they're going to shit on all the people that get it. And look, man, for the most part, the people that bitch about those awards are people that either haven't gotten it yet or people that got it. It's never anybody else. It's easy for the people that got it to be like, yeah, those awards don't mean shit. And then the people that don't get it, they get upset. But let a motherfucker that was upset this year get one next year. Let's see what he says then. She says then.
Yeah.
They say then. God damn it, Bay Area.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit hypocritical. Like, and then we are fighting these injustices on phones made with slave labor. So really, like, are we the clowns? Like, how are you supposed to better this world when, like, you can just better the world around you, basically? You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Does a scientist think of this kind of shit? Because I feel like as a chef, I'm like a dreamer, and like I'm passionate, and I'm a believer, right? And like, I'm not saying that you're none of these things, but you're obviously a different thinker because you're more of a scientific thinker. You know, it's just like I've worked with rocket scientists on the line, and I can tell you that they can't turn off a switch. Like their logic runs too high for them to be able to operate as the machine that you need to operate as to get like food out of a kitchen. Right? They're too smart. They're like, I can't. They're like thinking on the minutia of like, oh my God, I dropped one extra little bit of salt in this dish. Now it's too salty. Right? Where another person who's more practical is like, okay, cool, drop of water. Done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I forgot what the original question was. I just kept going there for a second. It's okay. Sucio Talk podcast. You just revert back to that. It's cool.
Yeah.
Where were we in your story?
Shit, I don't know. Something
We're talking about food, awards, who you listen to. Do you listen to do you read Eater? Do you think do you consider that publication a good publication?
Dude, I don't even know anymore, man. Eater list? Shit. Dude, I feel like maybe back then, but post pandemic, I don't know, man. I feel like post pandemic, probably not. I feel like they're probably like struggling to stay afloat, find fresh content. You know?
You think?
Dude, I think so.
Really?
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think they put out a lot of stuff every day. I don't think their stuff is hitting as hard as it used
Dude,
to.
I think that's the sign though, because dude, there's nothing hype going on in San Francisco right now.
Right.
So that's why they're like, oh shit, we need to like how much of what they're putting out right now is like actually hot versus like just regurgitations of shit that's
Yeah, top 15
Yeah.
fucking restaurants for summer.
yeah, it's like regurgitations of shit that's already out but just repackaged again.
Right. Do you think that there's an end of the road for something like an Eater? Do you think that there's a time where another publication comes up and takes their place?
Well, I feel like Eater is just so big. I mean, they have like, Eater New York, DC, LA, et cetera,
Mhm.
that, they're going to be around. Maybe they consolidate, but they're going to be around. Maybe their team gets smaller, but I feel like maybe their output gets fewer too, but I feel like they're going to still exist.
When you go out to restaurants and you're enjoying yourself, obviously, are you also looking at things in a critical eye? Are you also like, that wasn't that good. This dish wasn't that good.
Yeah, I think before I used to, when I was like just trying to understand food more.
Mm.
But yeah, I think before I used to. But then also like who was I to judge, I'm not fucking Michael Bauer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a fucking normal guy trying to be a cunt about something that I don't deserve to be a cunt about,
Why does Michael Bauer get to be a cunt about it?
because he gets paid to do it.
Okay. Very, very good. So you're saying that if you get paid to do something, you're qualified to do it.
Hey, I mean, he gets paid by fucking LA Times, right?
Right.
And people suck his dick to,
Mm.
you know.
Do you also agree that there's people in paid positions who are not qualified?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we come back to the other question. Does he get away with it because he's a writer and his job is like subjective and there's no hard proof and being like Michael Bauer is wrong because only Michael Bauer knows what Michael Bauer knows?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure he's gotten like flack for some things that he's written,
Right.
but I think I haven't, to be honest, I haven't read everything that he's written, but I have read a good chunk when he was, still writing in his heyday. I feel like he wrote decent, slightly objective reviews. Still subjective, but I feel like he did a decent job.
Mm.
But, yeah, my answer's still yes.
What do you think about the SF Chronicle writer Soleil Ho stepped down after such little tenure? What do you think that bodes for the future of food writers, the writer of the Chronicle? It's like a prestigious thing to just step down from. You know what I mean? It's like getting the presidency and then be like, nah, I did it for like a month. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I liked her take on it. It was fresh, I like that she was hitting reviews on like that less qualitative,
Mm-hmm.
less quantitative, and more qualitative aspect,
Okay.
and it hit it on like the more like cultural, bent. So it made you like think and feel more about a restaurant, in a new way. Because I felt like people, and this is going back to like consumers objectifying a restaurant based on dollar sign value, which again is not a bad thing, but I like that with her new review system, it made you think about a restaurant and what it was providing in terms of its like metaphysical value,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like culture, or like, like like her Alice Waters review, like Alice Waters is such like a important restaurant for like California cuisine,
Mm-hmm.
but it lost its flair. It could just use some like revamping to get back to like its heyday,
Right.
something like that. I think it's important to like establish that context, give herself like a nudge that like, hey, you lost your shit, but you can get it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It is like a lot of burden and a lot of like big shoes to fill in terms of that position.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see why anyone would want to, leave it. But going back to like that previous, comment that we left untouched, I don't know. I feel like San Francisco is not really in like a good. Maybe San Francisco's in a deficit food wise, so it's like maybe a good time for her to dip out from writing.
But is it really in a deficit? I just see a lot of great restaurants doing good things out there.
Yeah, like what? Like who?
Fucking Nico Pena at
Octavia.
Octavia.
Damn, I need to go back in.
He has had
Yeah,
the best year.
Yeah, for sure. I need to go back.
Like
in.
with guest chefs coming in.
Yeah,
also,
for sure.
Val Cantu at Californios. I know he's always in the headlines, but he is killing it.
Yeah, I need to go back in.
All right.
Yeah, but Californios is like a staple now. Like.
Right. You're saying new
Yeah,
stuff.
like what's new? Like what? I mean, Octavia is
Piglet,
kind of new.
Piglet,
Okay,
SF.
that's new for sure.
Right.
For sure.
I'm just saying, I think that we can't say that the San Francisco's down and out. Restaurants close open every day. I think that it's just, it may be in a downturn, but I wouldn't say that it's all the way bad.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's like,
Piglet and Co. though. Yeah, that one's fire.
Piglet and Co. What? I just refuse to believe that it's going down in the tubes because, one, I think people are saying that because they're not getting any awards. James Beard, whatever. Michelin's not really changing that much.
I mean,
aside
from like the award aspect, it's like, I've been talking to like my friends that are like, we love going out to eat. We love, we're like down to spend money and like, fucking eating shit.
Mm.
But it's like, I think it's restaurants aren't like doing anything adventurous, which is like a complaint of that article that I reshared today.
Do you think that they're maintaining restaurants or maintaining in your eyes?
Dude, some of them are, some of them aren't. Yeah.
Do you think that maybe we need to show restaurants more love like we show sports teams love and then love them through their hard times? And then maybe they can have enough money to have more good times in the future? Just saying, like, we dog on restaurants or whatever, and we just don't go there anymore. We don't give them our business, right? Whatever. Maybe we had a bad meal. After we have 13 good meals, we have one bad meal, and then we're like, we're not going there again for like the next year, right? Your sport team loses, you're back, baby. The next week, you're back. And it would just, I think, help chefs to have that regular clientele, and I think that's the problem. There's no regulars. Are you a regular anywhere?
Yeah.
Where are you
fucking,
regular?
Dude, bro.
All right, where are you regular?
Bro,
Let's see.
I'm a fucking regular.
Okay, where at?
I'm a fucking regular.
Where at?
All right. The Morris,
Okay,
Katonia.
okay.
Shit, where else? Nopa. I mean, shit, that sounds cunty, but Avery.
All right.
Haven't been in a while, though, but.
So you can't be a regular there if you haven't been in a while.
Yeah.
What's a
but,
while?
Dude, shit, maybe like 6 months, a year.
What is a regular to you?
Fuck, maybe like monthly.
Once a month, okay.
Bro, I'm not trying to go to Avery every month, bro. But dude, I know he has fucking customers that come in every month.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
If I could, I would.
All right. So
Shit.
I don't know. To me, that sounds like San Francisco's still doing its thing. It's great. I mean, Shea Fico's still on the map.
Yeah.
Flower and Water's still on the map. Like they're still.
But those are
doing it,
staples, man. Those are like industry standards. They won't die. They won't die. For
So the
sure.
main point is that there's nothing new and exciting coming out of San Francisco. That's the main point of all this stuff.
Is it new and exciting though?
I just think also
Yeah.
every restaurant gets their food from the farmer's market, right? Every restaurant right? It's the same fucking farmers.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay?
Same
So
farmers.
after a while, it's the same piece of asparagus that you're having from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Do you think that probably plays into it not being like kind of lackluster? Because that's why Meadowood was exceptional. We had our own garden.
Yeah, agreed. No, that's why Single Thread's fucking lit.
Exactly.
That's why French Laundry's fucking lit.
If you have your own garden and your own larder, you win.
Yeah, no.
If you're using the same shit as everybody else, and I think that's the reason why it's lackluster. Not saying that any of the produce is bad or anything like that, but when you have the same Zuckerman Farm asparagus at every restaurant, you as the diner, you as the chef, hey, whatever, it's fucking cool, Zuckerman Farm asparagus. But as a customer who's had it 3 nights this week, you know, more like Suckerman's experiment. No, don't get, no. I'm gonna get in trouble with that one. Don't do that.
Shit.
It's just a joke, guys. I love all my farmers out there.
No, that's a good counterpoint.
Yeah, it's just things we don't think about, and then for the most part, the chefs get blamed. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, oh, all the farms have the same food. No, the chefs are really like not adventurous enough for us. You know what I mean? And I'm like, as a chef, I'm like, well, fuck you guys. You know, like, how do you keep a restaurant open for 15 years in the modern age? Do you think that that's possible?
Yeah, I mean,
or do you think like pop-ups restaurants have to reinvent themselves every 5 years or so? Like if the Avery tomorrow was like, hey, Chad the Filipino, we are changing our shit. Come back tomorrow and check us out, would you?
You know, I had this conversation with Rodney. I forgot when, but I think this is something. I think this is something that diners actually don't understand in America. Actually, this is something that diners in Japan understand very well. And I think this is why fucking Western chefs jack off Japan so much. But in Japan, they have this word shunka shuto, which means it's like the 4 seasons, but it's a lot more sexy than that. Mm-hmm. But in Japan, they actually have a more specific word that subdivides the 4 seasons into micro 4 seasons, like micro.
So there's 8 seasons.
Yeah, basically. Mm-hmm. So you have 4 subdivisions of
Makes
fall,
sense.
4 subdivisions of spring, hence on, so forth and so forth. Which is why you have like more specific subdivisions of, you know, hamachi. You have like hamachi, you have puri, which is like the more fat hamachi. And then I forgot the other 2. But what I'm getting at is that hyper seasonality is so important in Japan, which is why dining culture in Japan is fucking lit. You have diners that fucking love going every season, but you also have diners that love going like within micro seasons. Mm-hmm. And I've spent like quite a lot of money in Japan when I was like fucking, you know, unemployed and like on like my post quitting my neuroscience job and like, you know, transitioning,
finding yourself,
finding myself, pseudo becoming Chad the Filipino.
Yeah, eating, praying, loving.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Hell
Julia Robertson.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
You got to do it sometimes.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I would go into like these fucking restaurants and I would like chat with the chef. I took Japanese for 3 years in college, so I would like chat with these chefs and chat with these fucking baller ass customers, and I would just fucking learn about micro seasonality, and like it's fucking insane how micro differences these chefs fucking get off to. And going back to my conversation with Rodney, we were talking about, or he rather was talking about how diners don't really understand for his food. And I think, you know, I'm sure you would agree, we're at Meadowood in particular, when you have your own fucking farm, if you could have diners experience like peak seasonality of summer, peak seasonality of spring, fall, winter, you know, like, of course it's like fucking hell expensive, but like to experience that seasonality in a menu for like a regular, that's fucking impeccable as like a chef. like to have that dialogue as like a chef and diner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like experiencing the most ripe tomato. You and I both know what that fucking tastes like.
Yeah, yeah.
To experience like the most ripe, you know, umami filled, you know, maitake mushroom, matsutake mushroom,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, et cetera. You know,
The best butter, the best cream, the best chicken, the
XYZ,
best
you name
fucking
it.
the best everything.
yeah. And so like that's something that diners don't really. Maybe I mean like the privileged ones do because we know and we spend the money and we experience it.
Mm-hmm.
But the normal customer, you know, they go to like Avery or like Bennu or wherever once a year, um, maybe twice a year, but they go for a special occasion, but not with seasonality in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Damn. Well, we used to have that culture over here with salmon,
Yeah.
you know, and trout. You like 8 different species throughout the year and all that. But now it's just commodity farmed everything. There you go.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're not eating out? Are you cooking? Are you going to like Whole Foods and shopping?
Yeah, I used to cook a lot. I used to like make my own bread and shit. Used to make my own pasta, but I just got really lazy and shit. Now I just fucking eat McDonald's and Chick-fil-A.
McDonald's, chef. Okay. What's your favorite thing at McDonald's?
Chicken nuggets, man.
Chicken nuggets. Like you don't get burgers when you go?
Sometimes a little rock of filet of fish. I think that
Really?
shit's criminally underrated.
Why is it criminally underrated?
Dude, it's just
I think
fucking-
everybody knows about the filet fish.
Dude, I don't think people know enough.
In high school, when they had pizza or fish, were you fish?
Pizza or fish what?
Maybe this is a Northeast thing. Every Friday for lunch, they would either do a slice of pizza or filet of fish sandwich.
Oh shit, we didn't get that. We had the
Really?
cafeteria, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had a cafeteria, but that was every Friday. They do that Pizza Friday, or you get your fish sandwich. I always ate the fish sandwich.
Oh, we had to like buy our lunch.
Well, same here.
But we had like a sorry. we had like our Friday specials were not that. We had like Mexican food.
Mm.
I can't remember what though.
You don't have a favorite school lunch?
In high school, shit. We had like
Oh, that's
we
fucking
had burrito Wednesdays.
Okay.
We had
chicken
and
patties.
chicken and biscuit Tuesdays.
Chicken and biscuit Tuesday. There you go. I like that. I like that. Out of all these places that you're a regular, why do you want to be a regular there?
I think like the Morris is fucking lit because they have a fat wine list. They have a fucking full bar. Really simple food. It's really easy. It's reliable. I think going back to one of your questions about like how I choose a restaurant to go to, now it's just like really simple and easy. I don't really want to think. I just want to have like a good time.
Right.
I want to have like options. So whether I want to have like a dope bottle for people, depending on how big my party is, or if I just want to like knock back cocktails.
Right. Knock back some cocktails. Okay. The Morris. Where is that located?
Pochero.
I've heard, but I've never even
Pochero.
seen it. Okay. And then, so now you're video creating, right?
Yeah.
Filmmaking. How'd you get into that?
Yeah, so it kind of pivoted from when I started taking photos. Started taking photos on the side when I was doing neuroscience research. Like anyone else, I was taking photos of my food, and then started just hitting up chefs, being like, "Hey, can I take photos for your restaurant?" But yeah, as I was like dining out too, I was like asking these chefs, like, "Yo, man, like, what the fuck inspires your food?" Like, I was talking to, I think one of the deepest relationships that I built was with Val at Californios. And I don't think he ever knows this or ever know this, but I think he was like probably the guy that really like catalyzed my interest into like the depths of culture in food. I'm very fortunate enough to like have gone to Oaxaca with Val and Mexico City. Well, I think Mexico City I kind of just tagged along as like a +1 when he did like a collab dinner with Quinto Neal. But yeah, very fortunate to have like experienced both of those sides of Mexico with him, or as like a +1 with him. But
Shout out to Jorge Vallejo from Quintonil.
yeah, dude,
I did
that
a 12
restaurant's-
days with that dude. That guy's badass.
dude, yeah, that restaurant is fucking sick.
Hmm. So when you're taking these pictures, are you in the action during the dinner? Are you having them just make a tasting for you?
I'm in action during the dinner for sure.
Right.
I think that's how I started. Of course, like in the beginning, it was like, I'm consuming the dish, and then as I like started talking with the chefs, and, like understanding the process, understanding the flavors, and like what goes on behind the scenes. Of course, like one of the biggest things with Val's food is like the masa, the corn. Wanting to understand where he gets it from, and just like, of course I didn't know. Like I'm Filipino, of course we have corn in our cuisine, but I was not familiar with the different types of corn that you guys have in your cuisine, and that they have different, nuances and flavors. So that was something that was interesting to me culturally. And so when he started like bringing in like really cool ass dishes like tatelas and fuck sopes and some other like shit that I've never fucking seen before, I was like, oh, this is getting fucking cultural, like cultural to me because I only knew of like fucking quesadillas and like burritos and tacos and shit.
Right.
And so that's when I kind of like wanted to get a little bit deeper and learn more about, what drives his cuisine on like that cultural level. And yeah, that's when I kind of like wanted to come in, take photos during prep or like, at the farmer's market. Yeah, and kind of like built a relationship through that. And that's when we kind of like got to go to Mexico together, learned a fuck ton. I'm still very grateful for that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think over time, this transitioned to me wanting to like do more photojournalism, more storytelling, being like really dissatisfied of like photos of just food, and wanting to, learn more about photos of people and things and like context.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see like a lot of photographers here. There's like plenty, like Adalia,
Mm-hmm.
Jim Sullivan, Medium Raw, John Troxel, Joe,
Mm-hmm.
all great photographers. Definitely probably like better than me, technically. But
I've never seen your work, so I'm just gonna say they're definitely way better than you.
yeah, for sure, dude, for sure, hell yeah.
I'm sure
Hell
when I
yeah.
see your work, I'll have something to work
Hell
off
yeah.
of. But
Yeah, and I feel like it's like it's so saturated. Like we all have our own ins in the food industry.
Mhm.
Adalia has told you hers. Joe
Mhm.
worked at Saison. Jim, went to culinary school. John, I don't know. I think he worked in like food media space. So we all have like our own fucking
yeah,
niches into how we got in. But yeah, for me, it's like I knew it was saturated, and I think this is like after the fact of why I wanted to do more video work anyway. But it's like storytelling for me is like paramount. It's like when I went to Oaxaca and like I fucking went to like a mezcal distillery with Val, and like I saw how mezcal was like fucking made. I saw them fucking like roasting it in the pits. I fucking saw them distilling it, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking lit. Like,
right.
I almost fucking cried, man. I was like, this is as fucking real as it can be. Like, one of the things about like food photography and like dining at like Michelin restaurants is that you're so estranged from the food that you're eating and like the alcohol that you're drinking that you don't fucking see like the people making the raw product.
Right.
Like it's so fucking like, dude, you ever have Cinco Sentidos mezcal? It's fucking good, but dude, it's fucking crazy that that bottle of mezcal is like $130 US, but back there it's like, probably like $20.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, of course, there's like, bottling, taxes, import, distribution, a lot of hands that go through. But man, just seeing that whole thing, and also just like hearing my friend Jason just like translate his story and just like how much he was like, five generations deep, using copper stills, we distill it twice. You know, this is our recipe. These are my fucking 2 daughters. I can like still see the image in my head as I'm conveying the story. Man, I wanted to fucking cry after. I was like so inspired, but you know, it's like shit like that I experience that really leaves such like a formative impact on my mind and my heart that I want to convey, that just photos can't just lack for me.
Right.
And yeah, it's like having experiences like that in Oaxaca and Japan and Korea and the Philippines, especially because I lived there for a year, that really like pushed me towards like this, you know, filmmaking path. Yeah.
Crazy. What kind of cameras do you use?
Yeah, so I use a Sony FX3 and a Sony FX6 for my documentary work. And then for paid work, I'll use those, but depending on the project budget, I'll expense out different cameras depending on how much money they want to throw at me.
And a typical like restaurant shoot for you, what does that day look like? Are you starting in the kitchen with the chef, or are you kind of doing something outside of the restaurant then coming to?
Yeah, let's see. What have I shot for a rest? So I shot a video, like a short ad for Nisei for David Yoshimura.
Right.
That one took a day, probably like 5 hours. Came in, did the location scout, like an hour location scout just to see what the lighting was like. Talked the concept over with Yoshi. And then, yeah, just figured out what my shot list and concept was going to look like. Next day, came in the morning around noon, got set up. It was pretty simple. It was going to be like a short 1 minute, 30-second ad. We had the dishes that we were going to feature lined up that were like very representative of his cuisine.
Right.
So we had those lined up. I got the shots that I wanted, which were pretty easy. And then, yeah, just made sure that we planned the shots of the food to come out in time so that they didn't overcook or anything. And also just so that I didn't interfere with his prep.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're shooting this food, are you shooting it raw? Do you have a setting that you shoot it at? Are you taking it back and editing it? And what are you editing in? You know, what are you changing? Lighting, color? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm shooting it in raw, in log. Are you talking like technical right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm shooting it in...
Let's get into it, chef.
Okay, yeah.
You didn't know I had that in me, did you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm shooting it in...
Motherfucking podcaster, right? Sucio Talked.
Yeah, for that one, I shot it on a Blackmagic camera in B-RAW. And then I technically... I'll shoot everything in RAW for the most dynamic range. Gives me like the most, dynamic range, so I can adjust it in post. And also gives me like the most flexibility as a colorist to really accent and change the mood that I want. I know Yoshi in particular is kind of like Val in that he likes very dramatic
darkness.
Yeah, he likes...
They ate too much Count Chocolate growing up, bro.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he likes it very like...
Cryptic.
Yeah, he likes that Count Chocula look.
Yeah.
Very crisp, very crunchy, but I give it like my own little flair. I use like some more vintage lenses.
Marshmallowy,
Yeah. Added some warmth, added some like orange sun flare. Because we shot, I think, in November, so it was daylight savings. And we kind of shot those scenes with the windows closer to sunset. So we got we got really lucky because closer to sunset, he has some nice sun. Yeah, we got some nice sunset near the window. So yeah, I really wanted to like emphasize that like romantic pre-dinner sexy vibe. Yeah, so added some like sunset mood in the highlights.
Do you talk him through any of this that you're telling me right now? Like, hey, I added some of this, or are you like, here are the finished pictures?
Yeah,
and he's like, I like them or not.
Yeah, I just gave him like more like the concept of like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just more like a general overview of like the pitch deck concept and what dishes will feature, and then
Right.
like general music tone. And then once I'm done with the project, I'll export a rough cut. Um, and then depending on if I like it, we'll make some tweaks, maybe swap out the music. If we swap out the music, I need to adjust the cuts because I will tend to cut to the music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then yeah,
Okay. And are you video editing on Adobe?
I video edit on DaVinci Resolve.
Okay. Why do you like that over Adobe?
I hate that you have to pay for Adobe subscription.
Heard that. Okay.
And since I color grade, DaVinci Resolve is stronger on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a one-time fee for DaVinci Resolve.
Right. Does DaVinci Resolve have an app or a mobile or just desktop?
It is just desktop, but it's available on iPad. So
right. Because I think if they had the Premiere, like the Premiere has Rush,
that
makes
one's pretty sweet.
Makes it a lot fucking easier to do shit.
Yeah,
that's what I find. You're paying for the convenience of the cloud and the different.
Yeah, Rush is pretty
things.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever take the content that you make and like give it to an animator or like make it a animated thing?
Nah.
Did you ever want to? Is that corny?
No, I just never thought about it. No,
I'm telling you, bro. Claymation. That's what I'm gonna do with these podcast stories.
Dude, do it.
Turning this shit into claymation,
Make
bro.
me a clay man.
Anybody got any claymation people out there? Let me know.
That'd be cute as fuck, dude.
When you're video switching, are you using an ATEM, or do you video switch at all when you're producing stuff?
I don't video switch.
You just have the different streams, and then you take all that and go.
Yeah.
Okay. Crazy. How did you learn all this?
YouTube Academy, baby.
Same.
Hell yeah.
Same.
Dude, you can learn anything on YouTube now.
Who'd you learn from? What channels?
For editing?
Yeah, for anything, for video stuff. Because they're pretty much all the same. Once you go, there's like 3 or 4 main ones that are like, I like the English people. And listening to Australian people also do it. For me, it's very soothing.
For editing, shit, I can't remember, man. It's been
I met these
deep.
people at a Best Buy parking lot that I've actually learned a lot from.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You sure they weren't drug dealers?
No. She was making a video blog in the back of her car, and I was like, "Oh, hey, are you guys YouTubers?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I do a YouTube, whatever." Her man rolls up out from inside Best Buy, and I'm like, "You guys look kind of familiar. Do you guys like teach people how to do how to use the Rodecaster Pro on YouTube?" And they're like, "Yeah, we do actually." And so yeah, there are a couple that basically does like audio, teaches you how to do multi-live stream setups and all that shit.
That's tight.
Yeah. That's how I learned to use this YOLO box and
hell yeah,
do all of this shit because, I just know how to cook eggs past this.
Hell yeah.
Do you ever want to do a podcast yourself?
Yeah, I wanted to for my Chad the Filipino shit. We were gonna start it like in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
It was gonna be me, this girl named Jess. She actually just came back from the Philippines. She did her own Eat, Pray, Love type shit. But yeah, she did like her own Chad the Filipino version, discovering like regional Filipino stuff. She's also like really into food, gastronomy, Filipino culture. So yeah, she's really sick. And then our third Filipino person, he's a som at Pinch Chinese in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna talk about like fucking Filipino, like political, socio-political shit,
right?
Using food as a medium.
Now I know we all live in the United States, obviously. You just said your Filipino friend who works at a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Right. Does that piss you guys off? Are you guys like, why isn't our culture more represented? Because I talked to this man named Bobby from DC, Chef Bobby, and Pradadich, and he told me that basically back in the day, when Chinese were emigrating over here, or anybody was emigrating over here, they would basically just say they were Chinese, and if they were opening up a restaurant, they would say it was Chinese food. But for example, they would sell Lao food. So they were like, give the people what they wanted with the pork fried rice and the American shit, but then they would have a corner of the menu that was like their region, wherever they were from, was authentic food. So like, does that play a part? Do you guys even think about that? Like the fact that he's Filipino, works at a Chinese place, does that piss you guys off? Or you guys like, whatever, doesn't matter, you know?
I think he used to work at Jeepney,
Right.
but Jeepney closed. Jeepney was like, I don't know if you're familiar, but Jeepney was like really hype Filipino, like one of the most hype Filipino restaurants in America, started by Nicole Ponseca. But yeah, it closed down recently. So I think he then just worked at Pinch Chinese, but he's really, I think, integrated in like the Filipino community in New York.
Right.
Yeah, why he started to work there, I don't know, but yeah, I think
stirring shit up.
He's doing some other stuff on the side, but yeah,
Some other stuff that's Filipino.
yeah.
Oh,
No, I think so.
come
I
on,
think
Dave.
so. I think so.
It's all good. Sometimes I ask myself why I don't have a fucking Puerto Rican restaurant.
Dude,
You know,
do
Puerto
that.
Rican fine dining. I'm doing it.
Dude, I'd be into it.
Bar Muerte. Let's go.
Dude,
I already got the name. I just need a fucking space. But that's a daunting thing, man. To open up your own place, like that is an uphill battle, especially like,
dude.
and I don't know how Val or Rodney feel about this, but the way that San Francisco's going, I mean, how do you feel as a native? Like, it's kind of crazy now, no? Is it the wild? It's like Gotham City there.
Dude, I know, dude. Did you see that article? The Cash App founder just got fucking murked.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro, outside of his fucking apartment
Yeah,
complex? That's
and
a
then-
nice ass apartment complex.
And then the next day, the Fed says we're going to go to a system that's like Cash App. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
That's a conspiracy right there.
Damn.
Because they're basically they're trying to remove paper money, and they're trying to go to all. And then that dude died the day before they decided to do that, at like you said, a nice apartment complex.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah, it's tough. I've been I've talked about this with my friend Emily from Davao, Singapore. And yeah, it's tough, San Francisco is, and that article has talked about it briefly too, but San Francisco is becoming or has become a commuter city. With all these tech companies vacating the city, and a lot of the workers now work from home or are moving out of the city as well, as well as also like native people. A lot of my friends, for example, have moved out of San Francisco.
where are native people moving to?
A lot of my friends moved to New York.
Like Manhattan, New York?
Manhattan, Brooklyn.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the draw?
For us, it's like
Might as well
more
be-
culture.
Okay. Right.
Culture. I think it's like safety in numbers.
So you feel like you have more community there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going back to the thing that I asked you before about the Chinese, right? Do you feel like the Filipino culture here in the Bay Area is underrepresented?
Dude, I think the Filipino culture here is like strong.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I think the Filipino culture here is strong as fuck.
Right.
A lot stronger than New York.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, statistically, I think California has the strongest, or California as a whole has the most Filipino immigrants out of all the rest of America.
Mm-hmm.
I think state-wise, it's San Diego, LA, San Francisco, in that order. Yeah.
Are you involved in any efforts to sort of join those communities, or is there like?
Yeah. So, one really exciting thing that's happening in October. One thing that I did that was really exciting, and I think that I'm really proud of, is that I think last year I organized like this really lit like Filipino potluck dinner at my friend's restaurant, Francis at Abaca, in Gurley Square.
Okay.
Yeah, I basically invited um, a bunch of Filipino chef homies. So I invited like Yana Gilbuena from Solo series. She like basically did a Kamayan feast, which is like a large Filipino feast that you eat with your hands on a long table. She did one of those in every state of America like 10 years ago. So that's her claim to fame. I invited like every fucking big Filipino chef in San Francisco just to have like a potluck at Francis' restaurant. And that was kind of cool because I realized, so one of the things I did under Chad the Filipino is I have like this YouTube channel, and I started this like recipe series called Recipes from My Memories, and it was kind of like an inverted idea that I had because when I was in the Philippines, I was basically like making these food docu vlogs of like fucking old aunties describing like the recipes of like regional ass Filipino food,
Right.
that like I didn't even know fucking existed. And so when I came back to America, like in 2020, June 2020, and I was like, fuck, how do I make content about the Philippines again? I was like, shit, let me like flip it and just do recipes told by immigrants from the Philippines. And so as I was doing these recipe videos, I was like, man, you know, a lot of these Filipino chefs don't fucking know each other.
Yeah.
They like know of each other, but they've actually like never met, which is like really ironic and like really funny. And when I met Yana, she kind of expressed the same thing too. And so I think like it was October or something of last year, but I just was like, fuck it, let me organize like this potluck. And so I did. And it was, it was really nice because a lot of these people, never met each other, and it was fun. It's nice to do something for the community.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's great. And so circling back, Yana is actually organizing the first Filipino food and wine festival in October of this year. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be like a liaison coordinator since I know a lot of these people. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Word up, man.
Yeah.
How do you organize something like that? Do you have anybody that helps you, or are you just kind of reaching out and getting all this stuff on calendar?
Well, she's the one that's like being the main organizer. I think once I'm there, I'm just going to be like, hey, welcome to the event. Let me introduce you to XYZ people, and just repeat that for all the invitees.
What is your end goal with all this that you're doing? Do you want to have your own film studio? Do you want to control the narrative of food media? What do you wish to do?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely still want to like, be active in my Filipino community because I think it's important for us to be involved in our community. Whether it's, you as a chef, you with your Puerto Rican community, that's like what really tethers us as like human beings.
Right.
When like grounds us and makes us feel good at the end of the day. But recently I've like launched a video collective with my partner and one of her best friends who is a video editor. My partner's a speechwriter. And it all kind of like worked very serendipitously that we all have like these very synergist skills. My partner being a writer and one of her best friends being an editor. So we launched our video collective called Oof. Oof being like, the feeling when you get like hit by something. We have like I made stickers.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oof. Yeah. Like the feeling when you just get like fucking hit when you like watch like a really, cathartic movie or like, something just like hits you in your soul. So we launched our video collective and we made a documentary, our first documentary on one of my partner's best friends, Alice. She's the first and only brewer of traditional Korean rice wine
Right.
in Brooklyn, New York. And our whole purpose was like, for me, and I think both of my partners, we were all kind of like tired of feeling scared and angry. More so me angry at just seeing all like the fucking hate crimes and shit against Asian people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to like make stuff, make films, make videos that kind of like made me feel better. And this is kind of just like how it kind of amalgamated. I kind of just want to like make things. I'm kind of like I'm the kind of person that just wants to like do. And if I have like a vision for something, I'll just like go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And keep going for it until I either make it happen or I realize that the door just gets shut down in front of my face.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, after like, half a year of, production, video editing, getting our fucking branding done by one of my partner's friends, we like had a screening and it turned out great. And so, yeah, we're currently in production for our two more subjects under our video collective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently directing like a really big project for a nonprofit in New York under our video collective, an Asian nonprofit. So, yeah.
So you're out there just getting these stories out there. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And then, just hopefully like more stories for Filipinos and shit, but also just at the end of the day, like, doesn't matter if you're Asian, but still want to make videos for like chefs and shit because, chefs are like really cool because they're on the front lines doing shit that they love.
Mm-hmm.
Chefs are like really earnest people. And
Would you say that there's any other profession that maybe has the same kind of people?
I really love farmers. Yeah, I really love farmers.
They're the yin to our yang.
Yeah, I really love fucking blue collar workers.
Yeah.
I have like this photo project that I want to do with blue collar workers. I don't want to say anything about it just yet, but yeah, I have like mad fucking respect for blue collar workers, like fucking construction workers,
Mm-hmm.
fucking farmers. I have like mad fucking respect for them. They're like so fucking underrated. Not underrated, but like, dude, man, like so much fucking respect for them. Like every time I drive into work at Trusake, there's been like hella construction in Hayes Valley. But man, they fucking put in so much work to like make shit fucking work in life.
Yeah.
Like fucking roads, fucking sewage, fucking like, man, even like farmers, like the farmers that just fucking like farm your fucking corn. The farmers that fucking
grow your everyday food.
Yeah, dude, the farmers that fucking water your vines for your wine that you drink.
Right.
Dude.
All those workers.
Yeah.
I think there should be a blue collar podcast. And I don't see any other ones, so I think I'm just going to fucking do it. So I think carpentry should have a podcast. I think plumbing should have a podcast. Like, it's all interesting shit, and what happens is now we're living in a world where being a celebrity is the currency, right? That's like what gets you to a place. So, like, what better way to do a podcast for carpenters and get carpenters recognized and have them be like, oh, shit. Like, those shows on HGTV where they, like, do the remodel of a house?
Yeah.
They never showcase who the fucking, like, contractors are. Like, they're always just like, oh, the queer guys did it. You know what I mean? And we all know that there was a construction crew behind that actually did the work and put the grout in and did all the stuff, not just the TV actors that showed the thing on TV, And so I'm like, where's their show?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we might as well do it here.
Yeah.
and have a group of blue collar podcasts where everybody's represented, and then after a while, motherfuckers will want to be getting into plumbing, you know,
Yeah.
or other crafts like that. And I don't know. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have plumbing competitions.
Dude, plumbing's pretty lucrative.
It is pretty lucrative.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of shit in there that's interesting that I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. I use it every day. I don't know
Yeah.
how it works, you know?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to know. But I think we leave it here, Chad.
All right.
Did you have a good time on Sucio Talk?
Yeah. I had a great
Is
time.
everything you ever hoped for or wished for?
Hell yeah.
There we go. There's that sex caller voice. All right, Chad the Filipino, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, tell them where they can reach you. Instagram, email, all that.
Dial 650. Dial me for phone sex. Just kidding. You can reach me at Chad the Filipino on Instagram. Or for our documentary work, Oof Stories, OOF Stories on Instagram. Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
about it.
There you have it, guys. Chad the Filipino, only the greatest here in the Bay Area. Fuck you if you don't know that this is the best motherfucking food podcast you ever heard in your life.
Hell yeah.
All right, there we go. We got the vouch. I'll see you guys next week live every Monday at 10 p.m. 510-463-1145 Chef Hotline. Hit that up. Leave a message, concern, comment, shout out, whatever the fuck you want. Sucio Talk Podcast.